Welcome everyone to this exciting session. Boom! A big event just happened in the Agile world. The Scrum Guide Expansion Pack was launched on June 11, 2025. And if you haven't heard about this major announcement, or if you are still struggling to decipher that 50 plus page PDF, don't worry. I have got you covered. This is Sunan Sharma. I'm an Agile consultant based in Netherlands. And at Career Talk, we share helpful content about Agile and Scrum. You can check out our past session, and if you find them useful, please feel free to subscribe. In this session, I will walk you through 8 major differences between 2020 Scrum Guide and the new expansion pack. Whether you are a Scrum Master, product owner, or a developer, or just curious about Agile, this session is for you. Also, a big shout out and thanks to Jeff Sutherland, John Coleman, and Ralph Yorkman, the authors of the Scrum Guide Expansion Pack, for this incredible contribution to the Agile community. Let's dive in. So, the 2020 Scrum Guide is concise and focused on the core framework. The 2025 expansion pack built on that by adding more depth, more theory, and more practical guidance. So, the 2020 Scrum Guide is concise and prescriptive. It's like a rule book. And the expansion pack, on the other hand, is more like a playbook. So it explains the why behind the rules and give you the context and the examples. So think of it like comparing a recipe card to a cooking masterclass. So the expansion pack is that masterclass for the experienced Scrum practitioners and organization scaling Scrum. So the very first difference is in the roles. In the 2020 guide, we have 3 roles: product owners, Scrum Masters, and developers. The expansion pack introduced 2 new roles: stakeholders and supporters. So it also acknowledged AI as a potential product developer, of course, with a human oversight. So this is a big shift. It recognized that successful Scrum teams don't work in isolation. They need support and engagement from the broader organization. So, for example, a supporter could be someone from an HR helping with the team dynamics, or someone from a finance aligning the budget with the product goal. So, it also emphasizes about leadership, about professionalism, and self management more deeply. So, that's the very first major difference. Now, this comes the interesting part. The expansion pack split the definition of done into 2 parts: output done and outcome done. So, output done is about technical quality, like passing all the tests, and outcome done is about value, like did we actually solve the user problem. So, that's the major difference. And it also introduced new terms like outcome criteria and acceptance criteria to make backlog item more meaningful. And it defines product as a formal artifact with its own commitment and not just a vague concept. So that's the second major difference. Now, theoretical foundation. So this is where the expansion pack really shines. It brings a lot of theory to help teams to understand why Scrum works. So it talks about empiricism, it talks about lean thinking, it talks about system thinking, and even the framework like Sinefin and ODA loop. So for example, this Sinefin help you to decide whether a problem is a simple, complicated, complex, or chaotic, and how to respond accordingly. So this is a pure gold for teams working in uncertain environment. So this helps team better understand the complexity and adapt more effectively. So that's the third major difference. Now the core Scrum events are still there, but the expansion pack adds a lot of more depth. So it emphasizes psychological safety. It talks about feedback loops and value realization. It also formalizes refinement as a key activity, not just something which you do when you have time, you know. So it suggests using matrices and flow based thinking during sprint reviews to better understand the value delivery. So a lot of emphasis has been given to expand what is these events is all about. So I think that's a great addition into this particular expansion pack. Now, scaling Scrum is hard, and 2020 guide barely touched on it. So scaling Scrum get a lot more attention in this expansion pack. So the expansion pack provide detailed guidance for multi-team environment. So it encourages shared product goals, shared backlog, and a cross-team learning. So you can imagine 5 Scrum teams working on a same product. So this guide helps them to stay aligned without losing the autonomy. So again, this is a great addition. Now this one, AI integration, this one is the most futuristic part of the expansion pack. AI is now part of the conversations. The expansion pack discusses how AI can assist teams, but also stresses the importance of ethical use and, of course, the human oversight. So it's a forward-looking addition that reflect modern tech trends. I think that's a great addition. So, for example, an AI could help generate a test cases or analyze user feedback, but a human still makes the final call. Okay, so that's something which is, I think, a major addition, and we all have to look into it into a little bit more detail. And now the Scrum Master is no longer just a facilitator; they are a change agent. Of course, we have seen into the past. Leadership is a big focus on this in this expansion pack. So Scrum Masters are seen as a change agent. The guide introduced leadership models like intent-based leadership and the framework like humanocracy and the sociocracy. Now, these help teams and organizations to evolve their culture. When we say humanocracy, it means like it refers to a human focused organization structure where people are empowered and given the freedom to contribute their unique ideas and talents. When we talk about sociocracy, it's something referred to as a dynamic governance. It's a governance system that prioritizes the input of all the member in an organization. So it's a structural approach to design making based on consent, where decisions are only made when no members have a significant objection. So the goal is to create participatory, effective, and a efficient system that values the contribution of each individual. So think of it moving from a servant leader to a transformational leader. So I think it's a great shift. And let's move on to our next difference. Of course, finally, the language has been updated to be more inclusive and precise. So terms like product developers and outcome versus output, it helps to clarify the rules and the goals. So the emphasis is now on a value realization rather than just the delivery. So for example, it's say product developers instead of just developers. And that include your designer, your tester, and all different roles. So it also emphasizes on a value realization over just value delivery. So this helps team to focus on outcome, not just output. So that's a major shift which is happening now. Okay, so why this update the need of the hour? Because the world is changing fast. Teams are more distributed, problems are more complex, and expectations are higher than ever. So this expansion pack helps Scrum evolve to meet all these challenges. So as an agile practitioner, I see this as a toolkit for the future. And it's not just about doing agile, it's about understanding it deeply and adapt it wisely. And of course, this is a community effort. So you all can contribute by experimenting, share your feedback, and helping others to grow. So friends, please comment what you think about this expansion guide. And thank you for joining us for this today's session. I hope you found it helpful and informative. And if you enjoyed the session, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next session. Until then, take care. This is Sunan Sharma signing off. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.